Burnout has become an epidemic in modern Western society. Millions of people are exhausted, overwhelmed, and feel like they are running on empty with no end in sight. But what if Buddhism has known about burnout for 25 centuries and has always seen it not as a failure but as a profound spiritual message that we desperately need to hear? The Buddha taught about suffering and its causes long before the term burnout was ever invented. He recognized that humans have a tendency to push themselves relentlessly in pursuit of external goals, often at great cost to their inner peace and well-being. This ancient wisdom offers not just understanding, but also practical solutions for our modern crisis of exhaustion. In Buddhist philosophy, there is a concept called the middle way, which teaches us to avoid extremes. Our culture glorifies hustle culture, grinding, and constant productivity, which is an extreme that leads directly to burnout. Buddhism invites us to find balance between effort and rest, between doing and being. The root cause of burnout, according to Buddhist teaching, is not the work itself but our relationship to it. We often attach our entire sense of identity and worth to our productivity and accomplishments. When we believe that our value depends on what we produce, we set ourselves up for endless suffering and inevitable collapse. Buddha taught about the concept of right livelihood, which means work that does not cause harm and supports our spiritual growth. Many people today are trapped in jobs that drain their energy and violate their values. Buddhism asks us to honestly examine whether our work aligns with who we truly are and what we believe. One of the most powerful Buddhist practices for addressing burnout is mindful awareness of the body. Burnout does not happen overnight. It builds gradually as we ignore signals from our body that we need rest. By practicing body scan meditation, we can notice tension, exhaustion, and stress before they become severe. The Buddhist concept of impermanence reminds us that everything changes, including our current circumstances. When we are burned out, it feels permanent and hopeless. But Buddhism teaches that this too shall pass, and that by making wise choices, we can transform our situation and experience. In Tibetan Buddhism, there is a practice called Tonglen, where we breathe in suffering and breathe out relief and healing. This practice can be incredibly powerful for burnout because it transforms our relationship with difficulty. Instead of resisting our exhaustion, we acknowledge it with compassion and send ourselves the care we need. Buddhism emphasizes the importance of self-compassion, which is radically different from the self-criticism that often accompanies burnout. When we are burned out, we tend to blame ourselves for not being strong enough or productive enough. Buddhist practice teaches us to meet ourselves with kindness, especially when we are struggling. The Four Noble Truths provide a framework for understanding and addressing burnout. The first truth acknowledges that suffering exists. The second identifies craving and attachment as causes. The third promises that liberation is possible. And the fourth offers a practical path forward through ethical living, meditation, and wisdom. Many people experience burnout because they have lost touch with their deeper purpose and meaning. Buddhism teaches that true fulfillment comes not from external achievements, but from inner development and service to others. When we reconnect with what truly matters, our work naturally becomes more sustainable and meaningful. The Buddhist practice of gratitude can be transformative for someone experiencing burnout. When we are exhausted, we tend to focus only on what is wrong and what we still need to do. Taking time daily to appreciate what is going well shifts our entire perspective and restores energy. In Zen Buddhism, there is a teaching about beginner's mind approaching each moment fresh without the burden of past patterns. Burnout often comes from repeating the same exhausting patterns day after day. By bringing beginner's mind to our work, we can discover new approaches and possibilities. Buddha taught about the 5 hindrances that block peace and clarity, including restlessness and worry. These are precisely what fuel burnout as we anxiously push forward, unable to rest or be present. Buddhist meditation specifically addresses these hindrances and cultivates the opposite qualities of calm and contentment. The concept of non-attachment is crucial for preventing and healing burnout. We become burned out when we are overly attached to outcomes, to how things should be, to maintaining a certain image or status. Buddhism teaches us to do our best and then let go, trusting the process without clinging to specific results. Right effort is one of the steps on the Eightfold Path, and it speaks directly to burnout. Right effort means applying sustainable energy, not pushing beyond our limits, and knowing when to rest. Our culture often confuses right effort with maximum effort, which is a recipe for exhaustion and collapse. Buddhism recognizes that we are not isolated individuals, but deeply interconnected with all beings. Burnout often happens because we try to do everything alone, believing we should be self-sufficient. Buddhist practice encourages us to reach out for support, to join sangha or community, and to recognize that needing help is natural and healthy. The Buddhist understanding of karma reminds us that our actions have consequences. When we consistently overwork and neglect our needs, we create karma that leads to suffering. By making wiser choices and honoring our limits, we create better karma and better outcomes for our lives. Many Buddhist traditions include periods of retreat, where practitioners step completely away from their normal activities to rest, meditate, and restore. This is not laziness or indulgence, but essential maintenance. Our modern culture has forgotten this wisdom, but we desperately need to remember it. The practice of mindful breathing is one of the simplest and most powerful tools for burnout. When we are overwhelmed, we tend to breathe shallowly, which increases stress and anxiety. By taking just 5 conscious breaths several times throughout the day, we activate the body's relaxation response and interrupt the cycle of exhaustion. Buddha taught about the 3 poisons: greed, hatred, and delusion, which manifest in burnout as the endless striving for more, the frustration when things do not go as planned, and the illusion that our worth depends on our productivity. Recognizing these poisons is the first step toward freedom from them. In Buddhism, there is recognition of different types of suffering, including the suffering of change. We may achieve a goal or promotion, but the satisfaction is temporary, and soon we are striving again. This endless cycle exhausts us. Buddhism offers a different path, finding contentment in the present moment, regardless of external circumstances. The concept of skillful means suggests that different people need different approaches. For some, healing burnout might mean changing jobs. For others, it might mean setting better boundaries in their current role. Buddhism encourages us to find what works for our unique situation, rather than following a one-size-fits-all solution. Meditation practice shows us that we can be aware of thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. When burnout thoughts arise, such as, "I am not doing enough" or "I am failing," we can notice them as just thoughts, not ultimate truths. This creates space and freedom to choose a different response. The Buddhist emphasis on present moment awareness is a powerful antidote to burnout. We burn out by constantly living in the future, worrying about everything we need to do. When we bring our attention fully to what is right in front of us in this moment, the overwhelm naturally decreases. Many people who experience burnout discover that it becomes a turning point, a wake-up call, that leads them to make profound changes in their lives. Buddhism teaches that suffering can be a powerful teacher if we are willing to listen. Burnout is often the catalyst for living more authentically and intentionally. The practice of loving-kindness meditation, or metta, involves directing goodwill toward ourselves and others. When we are burned out, we tend to become irritable and disconnected. Metta practice reopens our hearts and reminds us why we do what we do, reconnecting us with compassion and purpose. Buddhism teaches about the nature of ego and how it drives much of our suffering. The ego constantly seeks validation and fears failure, which keeps us on the hamster wheel of productivity. As we develop insight through practice, we begin to see through the ego's demands and find a more peaceful way of being. Right speech is another aspect of the Eightfold Path that applies to burnout. This includes how we speak to ourselves. The harsh, critical inner dialogue that accompanies burnout only makes things worse. Buddhism teaches us to speak to ourselves as we would to a dear friend, with patience, understanding, and encouragement. The concept of emptiness, or shunyata, teaches that nothing has fixed permanent identity, including our job titles, roles, and achievements. When we over-identify with these external things, burnout is inevitable. Buddhism helps us recognize a more spacious sense of self that is not dependent on what we do or produce. Many Buddhist teachers emphasize the importance of simplicity and letting go of unnecessary complexity. Modern life has become incredibly complicated, which contributes greatly to burnout. By simplifying our commitments, possessions, and expectations, we create space for restoration and peace. The teaching on the 6 parameters or perfections includes patience, which is especially relevant for burnout. Our culture demands instant results, but real change takes time. Buddhist practice teaches us to be patient with ourselves and with the process of healing and transformation. Buddha taught that craving is a primary cause of suffering, and in our work lives, this often manifests as craving for success, recognition, or financial security. While these desires are natural when they dominate our lives, they drive us to exhaustion. Buddhism shows us how to work toward goals without being enslaved by craving. The practice of walking meditation offers a perfect break during a busy workday. Instead of eating lunch at your desk, you can walk slowly and mindfully for even just 10 minutes. This simple practice interrupts stress patterns, grounds you in your body, and provides genuine restoration. In Buddhist psychology, there is understanding of wholesome and unwholesome mental states. Burnout is characterized by unwholesome states like anxiety, resentment, and despair. Through practice, we can cultivate wholesome states like equanimity, joy, and peace, which become our new baseline. The concept of interdependence teaches that our well-being is connected to the well-being of others. When we burn out, we often withdraw and isolate, which makes things worse. Buddhism encourages us to stay connected, to contribute what we can, even in small ways, and to receive support from others. Buddha's teaching on the middle way applies not just to extremes of asceticism and indulgence, but also to work. We need to work to live, but we do not need to sacrifice our health, relationships, and peace. Finding the middle way means working sustainably with clear boundaries and regular renewal. The practice of noting, which comes from Vipassana meditation, can be used throughout the workday. When stress arises, we simply note stress. When the urge to check email at midnight arises, we note craving. This simple acknowledgement often dissolves the compulsion and helps us make wiser choices. Buddhism recognizes that wisdom and compassion must go together. Wisdom helps us see clearly what is causing our burnout, while compassion gives us the courage to make necessary changes. Without compassion, we might judge ourselves harshly. Without wisdom, we might make changes that do not address the root cause. The teaching of the 3 marks of existence, impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self, can completely reframe our experience of burnout. We see that the exhaustion is not permanent, that our dissatisfaction points to something misaligned, and that we are not defined by this temporary state. Many Buddhist traditions teach about energy management and the importance of balancing different types of practice. We need times of focused effort and times of relaxation, times of engagement and times of withdrawal. Modern culture pushes constant engagement, which depletes us. Buddhism restores balance. The concept of refuge, taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, offers deep support for burnout. We take refuge in the possibility of awakening in the teachings that show the way and in the community that walks beside us. We do not have to heal alone. Right concentration, which is cultivated through meditation, allows us to focus deeply on what we are doing without the scattering of attention that creates stress. When we are fully present with one task, it takes less energy and produces better results than frantically multitasking. Buddhism teaches that our thoughts create our reality. When we constantly think, "I have too much to do, I cannot handle this, I am failing," we create a reality of overwhelm and inadequacy. By consciously choosing more helpful thoughts like, "I am doing my best, I can handle one thing at a time," we shift our experience. The practice of mudita, or sympathetic joy, means feeling happy for others' success, rather than comparing and feeling inadequate. In competitive work environments, burnout is often fueled by constant comparison. Mudita frees us from this trap and allows us to celebrate others while honoring our own path. Buddha taught about wise attention and unwise attention. Unwise attention focuses on what is wrong, what is lacking, and what might go wrong in the future. Wise attention notices what is present, what is working, and what opportunities exist right now. This shift alone can dramatically reduce burnout. The concept of bodhicitta, or awakened heart, reminds us why we work in the first place, often to serve others or contribute something meaningful. When we reconnect with this deeper motivation, Rather than just going through the motions, our work becomes energizing rather than depleting. In Tibetan Buddhism, there are teachings on the winds or subtle energies in the body. Burnout can be understood as a depletion and imbalance of these energies. Practices like gentle yoga, pranayama, breathing, and rest help restore and balance these vital energies. The Buddhist understanding of mind emphasizes that peace is our natural state and that stress and burnout arise from conditions we can change. This is profoundly hopeful. We are not broken or weak. We are simply out of balance, and with the right practices and choices, we can return to our natural state of well-being. The journey out of burnout is not about pushing harder or being more disciplined. It is about being wiser and more compassionate with yourself. It is about recognizing that you are a human being, not a human doing, and that your worth is inherent, not earned. Buddhism offers a complete paradigm shift from the beliefs that create burnout. Instead of more, faster, better, Buddhism teaches enough, present, peaceful. This is not resignation or lowering standards. It is recognizing what truly matters and aligning your life with those values. One of the most radical Buddhist teachings for our culture is that rest is not weakness and doing nothing is sometimes the most productive thing you can do. Our bodies and minds need downtime to integrate, process, and restore. Without it, we become less effective, not more. The practice of metta or loving kindness toward yourself is perhaps the most important tool for healing burnout. Place your hand on your heart. Take a breath and say to yourself, "May I be peaceful. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I be happy." Repeat this whenever you notice stress or self-criticism. Consider creating a daily Buddhist-inspired routine that supports your well-being. This might include morning meditation, mindful breaks during work, walking in nature, and evening gratitude practice. These rituals create structure that protects you from falling back into burnout patterns. Remember that healing from burnout is not linear. There will be good days and difficult days. Buddhism teaches us to meet each day with acceptance and to keep returning to our practices no matter how many times we slip. Progress is made through consistent, gentle effort, not perfection. Examine your core beliefs about work, worth, and success. Many of these were formed in childhood or absorbed from culture, and they may not serve you. Buddhism invites you to question everything and to consciously choose beliefs that support your well-being and align with truth. If you are currently experiencing burnout, please know that this is not your fault. You are not weak or inadequate. You are human, and you have been operating in a system that pushes people beyond their limits. The fact that you are here learning about Buddhist approaches shows wisdom and courage. Consider what boundaries you need to set to protect your energy and well-being. This might mean saying no to additional projects, leaving work at a reasonable hour, or taking regular days completely offline. Boundaries are not selfish. They are essential for sustainable living. Connect with others who understand burnout and who are also seeking a different way. Whether through a local meditation group, an online community, or therapy, having support makes an enormous difference. We heal in connection, not isolation. Practice self-compassion breaks throughout your day. When you notice stress, place your hand on your heart. Acknowledge this is a moment of suffering. Remember that suffering is part of life, and offer yourself kindness. This simple practice, developed by Dr. Kristin Neff, has Buddhist roots and powerful effects. Reflect on what brings you genuine joy and energy, and see if you can incorporate more of that into your life. Buddhism teaches that joy is a wholesome mental state that supports our practice and our well-being. You deserve to experience regular joy, not just get through each day. If your job is fundamentally misaligned with your values, and no amount of boundaries or self-care can make it sustainable, Buddhism supports making a change. Right livelihood matters. Life is too precious to spend in work that destroys your spirit. Trust that you have within you everything you need to heal and thrive. Buddhist practice awakens innate wisdom, compassion, and resilience. These qualities are not something you need to acquire. They are already present, simply covered over by stress and conditioning. As you implement these practices, notice what changes. Keep a simple journal of your energy levels, mood, and sense of well-being. Celebrate improvements, no matter how small. This positive reinforcement supports lasting transformation. Remember that the goal is not to become superhuman or perfectly balanced. The goal is to live as a whole human being with awareness, compassion, and increasing freedom from suffering. This is enough. You are enough. Thank you for watching and for having the courage to address burnout rather than just pushing through. If this resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe to Functional Buddhism for more ancient wisdom applied to modern challenges. May you find the rest and restoration you need. May you discover work that nourishes rather than depletes you. May you recognize your inherent worth, independent of any achievement or productivity. And may you walk the path toward balance, peace, and genuine well-being with patience and self-compassion.